Hello everybody! Today's topic is specifically the cutecore community. I've been in the kawaii space for around 6 years now, and I wanted to talk about some of the problems I see in the modern cutecore community, especially on TikTok and Twitter. And I mean specifically cutecore, not any other kawaii community. Kawaii started to become more popular and mainstream around 2022, with the more heavily Americanized versions of the aesthetic. Kawaii has arguably been a big thing in Japan for a while now, though it arguably started out for dark reasons, but that's for a different video. Personally, I think the thing that sprang J-fashion, and the kawaii community in general, into mainstream popularity for English speakers was the 2020 era. Not only did it get a spike of popularity in 2020 because of the fact that everyone was experimenting and researching things from all around the world, but also the popularity of anime and bright, childish aesthetics at the time definitely helped it too. With the new eyes suddenly on it, it began to gain a lot more participants than when kawaii was a very niche thing to American audiences. Gamer girls also catapulted it into the public eye, with creators like Nintendo Girl showing pleasing and tasty gaming aesthetics. The foundation of kawaii is anything cute, and while that is subjective, there's quite a few things that the general population agrees on as cute things. Things like baby animals, soft colors, frilly clothing, and big-eyed drawings. They all make the, general population go like, "Aw, it's cute." Kawaii just means cute, so there's many different subgenres. Yumi kawaii, jiraikei, joji fuku, lolita, gurokawa, ferikai, and gyaru, to name a few. Many English-speaking folks found where they fit in and began to respectfully take part in the communities via fashion and art, while some mashed it all together to make something that was basically new. This was cutecore. Modern cutecore was first created by an anonymous Tumblr user who shared their room. It was very kawaii, being adorned with anime posters, plethoras of figures, plushies, and general girly things. But it was also accompanied by horror elements, like blood, gore, and shadowy figures. It was very similar to the already existing J-fashion style of joji fuku, but very clearly influenced by the darker Western, emo, and scene themes. It piqued the interest of many TikTok users and beyond, and soon began to split into two groups: the gore and the non-gore. As some folks enjoyed the aesthetics, but didn't really like the gore, while others felt it was integral. So, what were the problems with the community? How was it any different than any other J-fashion or kawaii community? And how could something so cute go so wrong? To start out, let's talk about the rampant fetishization of not only Asians as people, but Japan in particular. One trend I think gives an overview of the problem is the pudding problem. So, in cutecore, there's many food influences, most of which being desserts. One of these is puchin purin pudding, or gelatin, which is just gelatin. At one point, there was a small, fun little trend in the community of trying the sweet dessert. But not only did many people not call it what it is, which is just pudding, or gelatin, but they would also often call it kawaii pudding, or Japanese pudding, and additionally not even eat the right one, instead showing cream caramel or flan, which are from entirely different places. But, This gave the impression that not only did they not care to learn the name, but they also didn't even care to get their food right, only wanting the aesthetic. It rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Another example is Glitter Force. Purikua, or Pretty Cure, is a wildly popular magical girl anime for kids. In 2015, they made the first English dub, or, English voiceover. A good idea in theory, but the English dub was taken over by Netflix, who stripped anything natively Japanese or non-English from it entirely, not only taking away necessary context that made the show good, but also implying that the cultural aspects were for some reason needing to be removed. But Western fans continue to insist it's called glitter force and not purikua, and deny the racism of the dub in favor of nostalgia and something more digestible. Hey, editor Miko here, and I think people can be a little bit too extreme about, oh, it's not glitter force, it's precure. Because in the end, when everything's said and done, Toei Animation did pay for the dub to happen, and they had to approve it. But I do agree it didn't do the show justice. Additionally, I grew up watching Glitter Force, and I think that it really is just a mindset thing, and they do it on purpose. It's really not that difficult to say precure. If you love the show so much, you'll just call it what it is, which is precure or pretty-cure. So, yeah. Additionally, a lot of these cutecore types seem to only have Japanese stuff, which in my opinion is weird because not even most Japanese kawaii fans have only Japanese stuff. It leads me to believe that they are obsessed with the country's media, not the culture. One last example is the way non-Asians participating in cutecore tend to do their makeup, almost in a way that mimics Japanese or Asian features. This debate has been going around for a while, but I've recently seen it die down, despite the fact I've only seen it worsen as of late. It began with people putting white under and along their waterlines to accentuate the shape of their eye and widen it. A lot of people, mostly non-educated, called it Asian baiting, or fishing, which is a lot of fishing terms. I'm gonna pull in a big one. Okay, never mind. It was eventually largely agreed upon to be dolly makeup, which had been around for a long while. However, there's been a lot more change in the kawaii makeup style as of late. Some very prominent changes being the use of large black or brown contacts and the addition of agyasal. This, in my opinion, took it to a new level, despite the fact I haven't seen anyone discuss it. To be honest, it's a very complicated discussion. Not only because of the fact that it's very subjective on what crosses the line and what doesn't, but also because the intention matters but isn't always clear. To be honest, I don't think people are trying to look Asian when they put on the big contacts, dye their hair black, wear a child's haircut, and enlarge and change their eye shape with makeup. I think they're trying to look like the Asian beauty standard, the fetishized and unreasonable version, which arguably may be worse, but who am I to say? It just rubs me the wrong way when I see these people not experimenting and doing something original, but instead copying and pasting onto and from each other. Hey guys, I just wanted to add that I'm not trying to, claim anything of anybody. I think all of these people's makeup is amazing, and, I don't want to be offensive. I'm just speaking on problems that I've seen and have been infamous in the community. I've also seen other people of color being, silenced, you could say, in the community about this. Some people say it's okay, some people don't. Either way, we're all just having fun. And I wanted to add that, me as a white person, my opinion isn't really, the standard. So if you really want more information, do your own research and, ask your people of color friends. And remember that it's not our place to judge. And, just live your life. Okay, cool. On a similar note, there's a big, though lesser known problem in the community with having an unhealthy relationship with food and self-harm. It's easy to be bullied, mocked, and belittled by some cutecores. But it's even easier if you aren't short, white, and skinny. There's a lot of crossover between ideologies and language used in harmful eating disorder communities in the cutecore space. For example, if a plus-sized person were to post themselves in kawaii fashion with the tags cutecore, and they got a lot of views, they're likely to have more negative comments than their skinny counterparts. People say having more weight is impure or ugly, pushing their own insecurities onto people. This happens a lot to people of color too. Even Asians, if they don't match the stereotypical model. The hate on minorities and the toxic mindset becomes a breeding ground for problematic politics and hate speech. On the topic of self-harming behaviors, it's very normalized to have fresh self-harm on display in videos and pictures. For some, It's because it's a part of the gore aesthetic, if that's what cutecore means to them, of course. And to others, it's their way of romanticizing their own illness and going out of their way to trigger others. Not only is this, of course, graphic, uncomfortable, and triggering, but it's also not safe for the young cutecore audiences to be seeing and looking up to. They often never address it either, simply letting people comment about how they wish their cuts looked like theirs. Of course, this is not at all the same as just so happening to have scars and also being in the community. These edgy types often enjoy gore too, and incorporate it into the aesthetic. Some like it, some hate it, but they share the same roots. Though, most people who enjoy the original cutecore aesthetic now call their subgenre cute gore, and leave cutecore to be non-graphic for everyone else. So once cute gore was created as a separate thing, it became highly shamed to tag or call something gory cutecore, as it's triggering, showing graphic gore to young children and just generally showing people something they didn't consent to seeing. Something that is also rather normalized on both sides of the community, though, is lollybait.
Oh boy. Right, so if I show you this character, how old do you think she is? She goes to elementary school and talks and acts like this. This is Kana, and she's a 7,000-year-old dragon. Kana is a lolly who looks, acts, and talks like a child, even though she's above 18. Now, Kana's adorable. I love her. But a lolly Kana is a person who's attracted to these types of characters. They use the excuse, oh, she's not a minor for insert reason here. But if she looks like a child and acts like a child, she's a child. Come on, man. Being a lolicon isn't technically illegal, but it's very frowned on. The male equivalent to this is Shota, or Shotacon. In the terms of Rinchan now, Vocaloids technically don't have canon ages, and it doesn't explicitly say she's 14. But watch this.
The sweetheart handhold. I mean, I knew they were close, but wow, middle schoolers these days.
Middle schoolers these days. Honestly, I'm a little jealous, said by an adult man. So I shouldn't have to explain why him saying, Rinchan, you're so cute, and being so obsessed with Rinchan's cuteness is weird! Also, in terms of Vocaloids not having canon age, Yuki's voice was provided by a real 9-year-old, so she's bad. Now you know.
The problem stems from Japan originally, as it is well known to have not only very lacking laws to protect women and young girls, but also to produce very concerning material of children or people who are meant to resemble children. But because of its popularity, it's not as shamed as it is elsewhere, and is often excused by saying things like, oh, she's actually of age, she just doesn't look it, or it's just fiction, it doesn't matter. So not only did the material of the children cross over to Western audiences, but so did its excuses. It also impacted the fashion, prompting people to start wearing Japanese children's backpacks, stereotypical little girls' haircuts, short childish skirts, and only because they were Japanese and for children. You know, it was pure for some, but many sexualized it with their own words, and by wearing it while putting themselves in adult situations, in turn sexualizing an entire age group that couldn't consent to being shown in this light. It's kind of like if someone dressed up as you, mimicking your styles and mannerisms, and sold NSFW content of themselves like that. Not only did you not consent, but now people will possibly think of them when they see or think of you. People began to use the merchandise as decoration and inspo. Some used it because they were attracted to children, but some simply saw them as cute and Japanese, and ignored any controversy attached to them. Then on, enabling the people who liked them for the wrong reasons. People began to care so little that even if they didn't like the character or know them, they still incorporated the character's merchandise into their room or page, further normalizing its creation and purchase of the material, because not only were they popularizing it and making it trendy, but they were also giving the company money themselves. Though, some people didn't swing that way, and preferred unrealistically skinny anime figures of impossibly large-breasted women. So, while less problematic, they still encouraged the obsession with porn and unrealistic bodies. Another thing that is horribly normalized in the community is overconsumption. Of course, we all have stuff that we don't need, especially collectors. But I see videos of people ordering more stuff when they still have unopened stuff they haven't touched. It drives me crazy. The fact that accounts that revolve around large hauls can post weekly or more baffles me. It doesn't matter if they're donating it after either, because they're still buying, and the more you buy, the more the company makes. One collectible every once in a while is fine. We all deserve good things. But why would you need a box full of cheap plastic trinkets that you couldn't possibly use in your lifetime? When I see these, I just think of the piles of trash in the sea and the thrift stores full to capacity with junk. It reminds me of the saying, or just the thought that there's no throwing something away. You can put it in a trash can, but it's always on the earth. It's not just gonna disappear once it's out of your sight. Everything that you consume, every single thing, will be on Earth and far outlive you. And these people are just ordering things they won't possibly need once in their life, just so they can flex on the internet, while it will take thousands of years for those things to biodegrade, and even then, they will just turn to microplastics. The insatiable greed for more is horrible, and it disgusts me that it sneaks into every nook of life. Not only do you get more views, the more rare or cute your plastic junk is, but you get even more views if it's something everyone has, but you have a lot of it. It normalizes wanting more and more to the point where people buy from fast fashion brands so even the poor can get cancer from the chemicals in the clothing. And it's not original either. They don't buy things that they personally like, but just whatever's popular. You can't look at Western kawaii without Mezzo Piano or Lucky Star, My Melody, or Ryakuma. There's millions of fun kawaii characters, but they don't get views, so many won't touch it. For example, the character Yui Yumikawa inspired the Yumi kawaii aesthetic, which cutecore heavily took inspiration from. But if you asked most cutecore enjoyers who she was, they wouldn't have a clue, in turn erasing real Japanese influence in history and westernizing their corner of the kawaii internet. It gets to the point where you can tell it's not even out of love for the style, but in pursuit of something they will never find with money. But real friends, happiness, and experiences will never come from materialism. You will only ever be left as empty as the cardboard box your collector's item came in. So what's the point? What's the point? I mean, if the style is so problematic, why do people like it? Are they all bad people? What does this say about the kawaii community? Well, the cutecore community is stupid. Yes. But it shows that there's an audience for kawaii. Not only that, but it was also a roadway for lots of people to find real and authentic kawaii communities that weren't so problematic. Also, not all people that enjoy the cutecore aesthetic do any of the things I mentioned in this video. Some people just like the cute, girly aesthetic. I think cutecore and just kawaii, because, cutecore and kawaii I think are interchangeably linked. Not only because cutecore is a kawaii fashion, but also because it has elements of everything that makes kawaii and J-fashion in general. So, I think it's important that we realize it and let people have fun. It's important to call out problematic behavior, especially in a world in the current climate where people just don't care at all. Like, genuinely, people could not give less of a shit. But at the end of the day, if it's not hurting you, just have fun. Because kawaii is an important thing so that, people can experience childlike joy and whimsy and fun. But, I hope this video made you think a little bit. Whether you're someone doing these things, a random kawaii enjoyer, or someone who never heard a word of it before. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and remember to subscribe and like the video. But only if you really did like the video. I have more upcoming content coming soon. But this was just a really, easy video to make and good to show off my new model. It's not very good. It doesn't have many expressions, and the clothes are really ugly. But it's definitely something for my first model. I'm still learning Blender, although I couldn't incorporate it because I couldn't figure out how to transfer the files. So these are just assets, free assets and stuff. Anyways, I'll see you next time. Bye!